Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share a story with you. Not just any story, but one that completely changed my perspective on life, on strangers, and on what truly matters when everything else falls away. It all started a while back, after a work trip to Montana. I decided to take the scenic route home to Denver, winding through the majestic Rocky Mountains. The sun was dipping behind the peaks, painting the sky with these incredible streaks of orange and purple. It was supposed to be a peaceful, quiet drive, my little escape, before diving back into city life. At first, the snowflakes were just a gentle whisper, brushing against my windshield. Beautiful, almost magical. But as the miles melted away, so did the calm. The air grew colder, and that soft drizzle of snow turned into something much heavier. Thick, swirling flakes started blurring the world outside. The road, which had been wide and clear, began to narrow, with towering trees pressing in on both sides like silent sentinels. Then my GPS, my trusty guide, flickered and froze. It's no big deal, I thought. I'll figure it out once I'm through the mountains. Oh, how naive I was. Nature, it turns out, had a very different plan for me. Within just 30 minutes, visibility plummeted to almost zero. It was like driving inside a giant snowball. My hands gripped the steering wheel tighter and tighter with every curve, my headlights barely piercing the whiteout. And then it happened. The tires lost their grip. The car skidded sideways. Before I could even react, I was spinning, completely out of control, and then a deafening crunch of metal against snow and rock. The airbag burst open, and for a terrifying second, everything went completely silent. My heart was hammering. I tried to restart the car, but the engine just coughed, sputtered, and died. Panic started to creep in. I checked my phone. No signal, none. The wind outside roared like a beast, and I could already see snow piling up against the windows. I was truly, utterly stuck. My car was a tomb of cold metal, and outside the storm was just getting started. I rummaged through my car, desperate for anything useful. Half a bottle of water, a granola bar, and an old blanket. That was it. I wrapped myself in the blanket, shivering already, trying to hold on to any shred of body heat. My breath fogged the windows instantly. The temperature was dropping fast. Minutes stretched into hours, each one feeling like an eternity. The only sound was the howling wind, and that silence, broken only by nature's fury, was terrifying. I tried to stay calm, to think logically, but my mind kept drifting to my family. No one knew exactly where I was. I tried to sleep, but the fear was too strong. Every gust of wind, every creak of the car made me flinch. By midnight, my hands were stiff, my lips numb, and I was shivering uncontrollably. It was the first time I genuinely thought I might not make it through the night. The thought was chilling, far colder than the snow outside. Just as despair was really setting in, I saw it. A faint flickering light in the distance. My freezing brain questioned if it was real, a hallucination, but it was there, warm, steady glow, slowly moving closer through the swirling snow. Hope, a tiny ember, ignited within me. I pushed open the car door, the cold biting into my skin, and stumbled out, waving my small flashlight wildly. "Hey, over here!" My voice cracked in the wind, barely a whisper against the storm. The light stopped, then started moving directly towards me. Moments later, a figure emerged from the white curtain of snow. A man, tall, bundled in thick layers, a lantern in his hand. His beard was dusted with frost. "You okay?" he shouted over the wind. I could only nod weakly. Car ... stuck. No signal. He stepped closer, his eyes full of genuine concern. "You'll freeze out here. My cabin's nearby. Come on." I hesitated for a second. Alone, in the middle of nowhere. A complete stranger. But the storm left no room for doubt or suspicion. I had to go. I followed him, trudging through the deep snow, every step heavy and slow. The wind burned my face. My legs ached, but I kept going. And then, what felt like an eternity later, a small cabin appeared between the trees, a wisp of smoke curling from its chimney. The moment we stepped inside, warmth enveloped me like the softest blanket. A wood stove crackled in the corner, its heat a literal lifesaver. "The man Jack," he said. His name was handed me a steaming mug of tea. My hands shook so badly as I held it, just trying to absorb the heat. "Found your car lights through the trees," he said, his voice calm amidst the raging storm outside. Lucky I was out checking traps tonight. Not many folks come this way in winter. I nodded, unable to find my voice. You saved my life, I finally whispered. He just shrugged, a humble smile touching his lips, just doing what anyone should. His cabin was simple but incredibly welcoming. A sturdy table, 2 chairs, shelves lined with canned goods and tools. The fire cast dancing shadows across the walls, creating a cozy safe haven. I could finally breathe. Jack made soup from canned vegetables, and we shared it. The most delicious meal I'd ever tasted. As the storm raged outside, he talked about his life in the mountains, how he loved the quiet, the self-reliance, how storms always reminded him just how small we humans really are in the face of nature. At one point, he looked at me, his eyes kind, and said something that will stay with me forever. Out here, kindness isn't optional. It's survival. Those words hit me deep, resonated with a truth I hadn't realized until that very moment. We stayed up late listening to the wind batter the walls. He told stories of other hikers he'd helped, of winters that lasted for months. I, in turn, told him about my fast-paced city life, my job, and how I'd clearly taken the mountains, and so much else, for granted. When I finally drifted to sleep near the fire, the storm was still howling outside, but for the first time that night, I felt completely safe. Morning arrived quietly, almost shyly. The storm had passed, leaving behind a world transformed. Sunlight poured through the cabin window, turning the fresh snow outside into a glittering sea of white diamonds. Jack was already outside, clearing a path to my car. Together, we dug it out, laughing as we slipped and stumbled through the snow, the shared experience cementing a strange, powerful bond. He even helped jumpstart my engine with his truck. Before I left, I reached into my wallet, wanting to repay him, to thank him in a tangible way. But he stopped me, a warm smile on his face. You don't owe me anything, he said. Just help someone else when it's your turn. I looked at him, this extraordinary stranger who had found me in the storm and treated me like an old friend. I wanted to say something profound, something to convey the depth of my gratitude, but all that came out was a quiet, heartfelt thank you. He just nodded. Drive safe. As I pulled away, I watched his small cabin shrink in my rearview mirror, smoke curling gently into the crisp blue morning sky. The mountains looked peaceful again, as if nothing had ever happened. But I knew with absolute certainty that I wasn't the same person who had driven into them the day before. Now, every time I see snow falling, even just a light dusting, I remember that night in the Rockies. I remember the fear, the biting cold, and that faint, flickering light that appeared when I thought all hope was gone. I remember Jack's words, kindness isn't optional, it's survival, and I've honestly tried to live by them ever since. Because sometimes when life leaves you lost in the storm, truly adrift, it's a stranger's unexpected kindness that becomes your guiding light, your way home. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. If this resonated with you, or if you've ever had an experience where a stranger's kindness made all the difference, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Stay safe, and remember to spread a little kindness wherever you go.